1. Trump's tariffs threaten to overshadow Macron's UK visit. 2. King Charles and Macron, rebuilding UK-France relations state visit 2024 analysis. 1. Trump's tariffs threaten to overshadow Macron's UK visit. Imagine a world where the grandeur of a state visit between two European powerhouses is eclipsed by the looming shadow of a US president's economic threats. That's exactly what's happening as French President Emmanuel Macron arrives in the UK for a 3-day state visit, with Donald Trump's unpredictable tariff policies casting a long shadow over the diplomatic pageantry. But here's where it gets controversial. While Macron and King Charles III are set to reaffirm their nation's historic ties, the real drama may unfold not in Windsor Castle but in the halls of global trade negotiations. Will Trump's tariffs reshape Europe's economic future, or will Macron's diplomacy outmaneuver the chaos? Let's dive in. On July 8, 2025, Macron touched down at RAF Nordholt, greeted by the Prince and Princess of Wales, William and Kate, before heading to Windsor for a state banquet with King Charles III and Queen Camilla. This visit marks a significant moment. It's the first state visit by an EU leader to the UK since Brexit, symbolizing a delicate attempt to rebuild Franco-British relations. Yet, as Macron meets with Prime Minister Keir Starmer and business leaders to discuss migration, trade, and security, the backdrop is anything but serene. The US remains a wild card, with Trump's looming tariffs threatening to disrupt global markets and Europe's stability. The stakes are high. On July 7, Trump shared screenshots of letters allegedly sent to 14 countries, warning of steep tariff hikes starting August 1. While the original deadline has been extended, the message is clear: the US is flexing its economic muscle. The EU, which didn't receive a letter, now faces pressure to negotiate a trade deal with Washington, fast. As Holger Schmieding of Berenberg Bank notes, the EU is rushing to conclude a deal, but major hurdles remain. The current 10% US-based tariff, plus sector-specific charges, could hit European exports hard. The EU hopes for exemptions on aircraft and parts to keep the average tariff increase below 10%, but Trump's threats suggest he may demand more. And this is the part most people miss: the UK's role in this chess game. Starmer, who has cultivated a surprisingly friendly rapport with Trump despite their political differences, might offer Macron insights on navigating US diplomacy. After all, Trump recently claimed the UK was his favorite trading partner, calling them protected from future tariffs because I like them. Macron, however, has faced Trump's scorn before, mocked for his stance on World War I and II, and labeled publicity-seeking at the G7. Can he turn this visit into a breakthrough, or will Trump's tariffs dominate the headlines? Meanwhile, the UK is going all out for Macron's visit, blending tradition with modernity. The Macrons rode in the 1902 state Landau carriage during a royal procession, while King Charles III prepared a speech warning of complex threats facing both nations. These challenges know no borders, he said, echoing a sentiment Macron likely agrees with. Yet, as Macron addresses Parliament and attends a France-Britain summit, the question lingers: can diplomacy outpace economics? Or will Trump's tariffs force a reckoning for Europe's leaders? So, what do you think? Should Macron prioritize trade deals with the US or focus on strengthening EU unity? Share your views in the comments, because in a world of shifting alliances and tariffs, every perspective matters. 2. King Charles and Macron, rebuilding UK-France relations state visit 2024 analysis. The future of European stability may hinge on an unlikely friendship revival, and it's being brokered by kings and presidents rather than politicians. This week's lavish UK-France summit marks a critical attempt to heal post-Brexit wounds through royal diplomacy and policy breakthroughs. But here's where it gets controversial: can centuries of rivalry and recent betrayals truly be overcome by palace banquets and military handshakes? As King Charles III and President Emmanuel Macron exchange ceremonial gestures in Windsor Castle's shadow, the real test lies in addressing issues that nearly sank this cross-channel partnership. The 3-day spectacle, complete with horse-drawn carriages, parliamentary addresses, and a star-studded state banquet, isn't just about restoring pre-Brexit camaraderie. It's a high-stakes bid to confront shared crises, from arming Ukraine against Russian aggression to stopping migrant boats in the Channel. Let's break down why this matters. For the first time since 2008, a French president is receiving full British state visit honors, complete with a 21-gun royal salute and inspection of the household division. The Prince and Princess of Wales' participation adds emotional weight, particularly as Catherine continues her cancer recovery. Yet beneath the Union Jacks and tricolors fluttering over Windsor's ancient stones, serious business unfolds. Here's the strategic backbone. Nuclear collaboration as two of only 9 global nuclear powers, the UK and France aim to modernize their 2010 Lancaster House Defence Pact. This includes expanding their 10,000-strong Rapid Reaction Force, CJEF, initially designed for joint military interventions, into a broader NATO-aligned shield. Ukraine lifeline with Washington's support wavering, London and Paris are coordinating arms shipments through a new coalition of the willing. Expect video talks with President Zelensky about maintaining artillery supplies through winter. Migration chess game the proposed, one asylum seeker in, one returned, deal could revolutionize European border policies. But critics argue it's a bureaucratic shell game that punishes southern EU nations. And this is the part most people miss: King Charles isn't just a ceremonial prop. Fluent in French and schooled in diplomacy since meeting Charles de Gaulle at 21, the monarch has quietly shaped foreign policy through symbolic acts, from hosting Zelensky at Sandringham to choosing France for his first post-coronation tour. Royal commentator Mark Roche notes, when Charles addressed France's Senate entirely in their language last year, he didn't just read a speech, he rebuilt bridges. But let's confront the elephant in the room. Brexit didn't just strain UK-EU relations, it turned the Channel into a psychological battleground. Remember the submarine deal debacle? France still smarts from Australia ditching their $66 billion subcontract for a UK-US pact in 2021. Macron's team called it a knife to the back, while Boris Johnson told France to prenez un grip, get a grip. Now, 8 prime ministers later, 3 British, 4 French since 2022, both sides admit mistrust lingers. As Chatham House analyst Sebastian Maillard warns, the shadow of those Brexit battles still darkens every negotiation. Yet against all odds, cooperation is growing. France now stations 1,200 gendarmes along its northern coast, partly UK-funded, to block migrant boats. Here's the burning question: can Starmer and Macron achieve what Sunak and Johnson couldn't? The new Labour PM faces immediate pressure to deliver on migration, while Macron battles collapsing domestic approval ratings. Their solution? A controversial returns agreement that would 1. Send one Channel-crossing migrant back to France. 2. Allow one pre-approved asylum seeker into Britain through family reunification channels. Conservatives blast it as pathetic tokenism, while Mediterranean nations fear becoming Europe's dumping ground. Yet migration expert Megan Benton sees potential. If this pilot works, it could redefine border management from Calais to Lampedusa. The ultimate irony. This diplomatic reset relies heavily on institutions both nations once rejected. Macron's European political community, initially mocked as a Brexit punishment club, now includes Britain. Meanwhile, the UK's new left-wing government finds common ground with France's centrist president against far-right factions in both parliaments. As the Windsor Castle bells toll, one truth emerges: in an era of Trumpian unpredictability and Putin's aggression, these old rivals need each other more than they'll admit. Queen Elizabeth VI's visits to the Élysée Palace set the template. Charles and Macron must now make it functional. But we want to hear from you. Is royal diplomacy still relevant in modern statecraft, or just nostalgic theater? Can migration deals ever satisfy both humanitarian concerns and border security? Should European defense rely more on Franco-British cooperation than American support? Sound off below. The comments section awaits your hottest takes. P.S. Don't overlook the subtle power moves: Brigitte Macron's book club meeting with Queen Camilla, or the fact that this summit's venue, Windsor Castle, was built by William the Conqueror after invading England from Normandy. Some rivalries truly take centuries to unwind.